This episode, we fit up the TJM snorkel, a sneak peek at the new 70 series on Australian shores. I'll show you how to extend your diff breathers for under $40. Some bullet truck news. That housing's getting closer and closer to bolting up Nicholas's first run on his YZ65. We'll start with bullet truck and rotation of the knuckles. So Brian's cut the knuckles off. Now there's a shoulder that sits inside the housing that you slice. That way you get to slide it to whatever caster you're after. It ends up being 7 degrees. Now it's time to get onto the bracing. So we start with the long side, the short side, and then the bracing between the actual ball and the housing. He's smashing through this at great speed. Although sadly we may not have an event to compete in for a while, as AMA have pulled the pin on us. The pumpkin guard, still got a bit to do. Shock mounts, steer bump stops, and hydro assist brackets, all custom made by Brian. A weigh-in, and I'm happy enough with the numbers. It's weight down low, and it's not that much heavier than a Hilux housing. I can't wait to bolt this thing up. So it was a school morning. I said to Nicholas, put your motorbike boots on. I want to size you up on this YZ. So what we've still got coming up, we've got a team competition. It's called the Pony Express.
I wanted to hand these over today.
Which it looks like he'll need to do on his 4-stroke. But then we've got 2 club days where I really wanted to get him on his YZ, but I wanted to size him up to at least see that he could touch the ground. I think he still needs to grow another inch or so, or I'll be carrying these blocks around at every start. So one of the things we picked up today was this TJM AirTech snorkel, a one piece. You can see here, no join. Not going to let water in. This gets clamped straight to the airbox. There's no 2-piece join between the guard and the inside of the guard, so peace of mind. The reason I've chosen the AirTech over any of the 4-inch ones at the moment, the motor's still stock. We haven't got tunes, chips, airboxes. I don't want to have to cut a hole in this guard yet. Some of my earlier subscribers will remember how we cut the guard on that grey truck. Now that was a little bit into having owned that vehicle. We'd done a lot of mods. We had a lot of power running through that motor. Not sure what I'm doing with the truck. It could be going. Could be going when the new one comes. So this way I get a waterproof 1-piece snorkel. We can head away. I can cross the creeks and I know I'm not going to get water in the motor. Now we removed everything last episode. So where we start with this is we fit the silicone hose to the box, put the hose clamps around it. This is basically a like for like. So all the bolts that we took off, we'll be putting back on. No cutting, no drilling. The vehicle stays as it was from factory. Now it's not like me to modify and go like for like. Really, I would have loved to have done what I did with the grey truck, but I'm not sure what I'm doing with the car and I'm not sure how that's going to affect the sale of the car if I cut a giant hole. The motor is still stock. It's had the catch can on from day one, but from a selling point of view, I feel that this was the best choice. It does the purpose for our trip at the end of the year, and also once we're back and the new one's here, it's not going to hurt that I've done this for resale. Okay, so now this is maybe the hardest part because you've got to get your hands in there. You've got to make sure that the snorkel body enters into that silicone hose. This is what will keep the water and the dust out. You get this wrong and you may as well not have a snorkel. Okay, so we want to split that so it's even. You want to get your hose clamps in a position where you're able to tighten them. If I rotate that around enough, I'll be able to get my screwdriver in there for the future. Now don't think because you've tightened them up tight this time on installation that they'll be tight forever. We check ours before any main trip where we are going to be in dirt or crossing water. All right, so that's fine there. And we move on to the 50mm long replacement bolts that you get that go into the captive nut in the guard. And using the original bolts, the bracket bolts to the A-pillar and then into the snorkel. So now that we've made the airbox watertight, I'm going to try and do that with the other running gear. So The breather from factory comes up there just past the top of the shock. We're going to extend it up into the tray. And same too with the breather at the front. We'll bring that way up into the engine bay. In this case, I've taken the front breather off, which is only a foot long in any case. I've undone it from the diff side, and then I've undone the clamp that bolts up to the chassis here. A trip into the local Supercheap. We got hose clamps and filters. So this job's cost less than $40. As easy as that. The front's done. We've used a hose clamp on the diff side. We're retaining the bracket that the hose goes through. Allow a little bit of slack for all that wheel travel that this truck gets. Got the hose neatly running away from anything hot, and then the filter tucked up into the corner. Yes, if you're going to submerge your car over the bonnet, then expect water everywhere. So this is a precaution. Most of us won't cross this high, and if you stay moving, you should be good. So the way the factory ones are designed, they're designed to take air in, but then if you do go in water, they're supposed to stop, they're supposed to suck it down and not take any air in. Noticed it looking a bit shabby under here. Bit of surface rust appearing from obviously some of the mud we've driven through. So we'll give it a wipe. Hate seeing new trucks look old. Good old epoxy. Little bit of TLC. Couple of dollars worth of paint. Doesn't it look $1 million now? Also too, while I'm under here, I'll just show you that hose clamp there. That's very important one to check before you do any crossings. So you can see how low that is. If that's loose and you get water in, good night. And what I've done with the rear one, I've run the hose through a hole in the toolbox. The filter's well and truly undercover in here. Got silicone holding it up in the corner, out of harm's way. And then under the tray, just zip tying it to the harness, using the factory bracket up there, and then a little bit of slack for some travel with a hose clamp to the fitting. So let's work out what that cost us to extend both diff breathers. So we had $20 worth of 1/4-inch hose. We had $11 in 2 filters, and we had 2 hose clamps at $4. So that's $35 in material. They're here all right. They're here in force. The new light truck class of 70 series on Aussie soil. And yes, still a V8. The biggest visible change are those indicators. Now I thought mine were big when I had to put the replacement ones on for my GVM upgrade pre-rego earlier in the year. The other thing too is they're in a different location. I'm guessing they changed the location of that indicator purely because most brush bars take this path. Having a look here at my truck. So no vision's going to be impeded from any angle with the new location. But the good news is they're here. The SSMs can start. It looks too like there's some mine spec single cabs in this group as well. Still leaves in the rear. It doesn't look like they've corrected the track width. To me, the suspension looks unchanged. That shackle angle isn't telling us that that is a heavy duty spring. Now where these cars are, it's about 4,000 k's from me. And even though they do have a Sandy Torp older version there with the smaller indicators, I'm probably no chance of getting my hands on that one. So all of us that are waiting for our vehicles and the scheduled pre-rego work, we've got to now be patient. Fingers crossed it all works out smoothly and fast for all the SSM mobs. What's going on? It's Monday. Why aren't you at school?
This is motorbike school.
Pipple free day.
Yes.
How'd it happen? Let's hit the tracks. Never been here before, so we got in at 8:30, did the paperwork, bike start at 9. We spent a couple of hours on the main track for the 65s. It was a fun track, we were the first riders on it, but our main objective was to get Nicholas learning the clutch. Now the YZ was second hand. I figured no point buying new, he'll be on an 85 soon enough. So I wasn't even sure the reliability of it, even though it was a Yamaha. So what I needed from Millie was after morning tea for her to do a lap. It's morning tea. Millie's gonna take the YZ for a lap. They're both 65s, they're both 2-strokes, but such a different sound in the motors. One's a 60 to 1, the Husky, the other's a 31 fuel mix, the Yami. It was fun having them in the same class at the mini bike club on their 4-strokes. And it's the one thing I'm looking forward to next year, is both of them on a 65. Is it good? It's fast. Jumpy. Fast. Okay, you got your clutch in. You need to go into first gear now by yourself. Down one. Okay. I guess we spent about an hour of him taking off and stopping, and then we started to take away the blocks so he was able to hold the bike up and he was able to take off. Now what we didn't work on is him kick-starting it. He didn't have the strength to hold the bike and kick it right now, but I did say to him if he masters taking off and stopping, I would let him go on the big track.
Not too bad. I thought I had easy competition against him. He's
No way.
really good.
They're not going to catch him at the club anymore. He already needs to go into third.
Only an hour from home, really nice people run the place. They're open the first Monday of every month and they're looking to make it every second Monday next year. We've joined up for the year. It looks like a really well run establishment. It's in Appin and there's a big track for these kids to grow into once they get an 85cc. So there's a track out the back. It's got big tabletops, it's steep, it's got some nice big jumps, but you have to have an 85cc bike to be able to ride in it. We saw that there was some bush trails behind the track that we'd been riding today. Popped him back on his 4-stroke and we went to have a little look. We weren't going to have time to do any of these today. So next time we come, we'll pack a backpack, some food and water, and we'll hit these trails. Hopefully, it won't be so muddy. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks for watching.